as much as you want to say has a character arc, he's the one that has a real arc in the film. Even though he's like we mentioned before, he's the one that is using you for his gain and will definitely try to get over on you the first chance he gets. But it seems to always backfire on him in the movie. Every time he thinks he has the upper hand, he doesn't.
Yeah, and he just comes running back.
For starters, do you know Tuco's full name?
No, it's too long. But I know it's ridiculous what they read when they're gonna hang him.
He's got a great name, and then he's got this comically long list of crimes that he's accused of, that they read in the very beginning when he's about to be hanged, and escapes both times because he and Blondie are in cahoots. Blondie catches him, gets the bounty on him. They go to hang Tuco, and then Blondie shoots the rope and frees Tuco, and then they take off, split up the money, and start all over with their ruse again. But yeah, when they go to hang him, both times, his name gets read, and then his list of crimes, which is hilarious. I'll pull up the list of crimes so I can read all of them to you. But his full name is Tuco Benedicto Pacifico Juan Maria Ramirez. And his list of crimes are such: murder, armed robbery of citizens, state banks, post offices, the state banks and post offices, the theft of sacred objects, arson in a state prison, perjury, bigamy, deserting his wife and children, inciting prostitution, kidnapping, extortion, receiving stolen goods, selling stolen goods, passing counterfeit money, and contrary to the laws of this state, which is New Mexico, he's guilty of using marked cards. And just when the judge or the hangman, whoever reads that long list, it's hilarious.
Because it's like every single thing you could do wrong in the book, it's there.
And it's funny because there's definitely a shot where, he's in the noose, they're waiting to hang him, the guy's reading this long list of crimes, and he's just kind of there, like kind of rolling his eyes. Like everyone's looking at him, waiting for him to be hanged, and they're reading this hilariously long list of crimes. He's just kind of sitting there going, with that expression on his face, like, yeah, I did that shit. But man, he's a great character. At the very beginning, he's the guy you see first in the film. Not the very first face, like you said, not the very first person you see, but of the three main characters, he's the one that is in that opening segment. And there's some gunmen that show up to kill him. You hear a bunch of gunshots. He jumps out the window, which is hilarious. He jumps out that window, and then it freeze frames, and that's when the title card, his title card, the Ugly, comes up. And I've seen this movie multiple times, more times than I can count. But it depends on the version. Sometimes I see the movie and it's got the Italian titles, and then sometimes it has the English titles. So the version that I watched this time, the one I have on Blu-ray, but I think my anniversary edition or the restoration cut DVD that I had, it was a great edition. It had like lobby cards, it had like a little booklet. It's got great packaging. I believe that had the Italian titles on it. Now, when you watched it in preparation for the show, what titles did it have on it?
It was all the American version.
The English titles?
Yes.
That's strange. Because I swear, the restoration cut, every time I've seen it in the theater, which has been maybe 10 times by now, I've seen this movie in the theater, the restoration, it's always had the Italian titles on it.
Do you think it's maybe they're doing that for the, like, they have a, like, whatever screener copy is that specific one? Like, they're doing it on purpose, maybe?
Probably. I was just surprised when I watched the restoration version on Blu-ray a few times this week in prep for the show. It had the English titles on it. I definitely expected it to have the Italian titles on it. Not that that's a major complaint. I was just curious because it seems to change depending on the version that you're watching. But back to Tuco. So he kills these guys. Well, kills two of them, wounds the third, and then disappears, and then is accosted later on by three bandits, and then you hear Blondie speak, and it's a pretty funny scene. This is what I meant when I said, there's a lot of great lines, and they're like kind of darkly comic lines in all the Leone westerns, where it's these guys are talking about, hey, you have a face, pretty enough to be worth $2,000, and then you hear Blondie say, yeah, but you guys aren't going to be the ones to collect it. And then immediately, guns all three of them down, and takes Tuco in. And one of my favorite Tuco lines is after he brings them to the sheriff or the marshal, whatever it is in the town. He goes into the marshal's office, and then the sheriff or the marshal, whomever, walks out, and Tuco says, what is this? Like, one bastard goes in, another comes out? Yeah. And then as Blondie is getting the bounty on him, he's, Tuco's yelling at him, saying, hey, look, Judas, he's taking the filthy money, it's Judas. He's just yelling and talking all kinds of shit to him.
Trying to he's overselling that they don't know each other.
Yeah. And then this happens twice. Gets captured twice, and Blondie frees him both times. But after that second time, it's kind of, our arrangement is done. Blondie tells him that, I think you'll never be worth more than $4,000. It's kind of like he expected the bounty to double each time. But after that second time, it's like, it's not going to get better than this, so, we can part ways. But instead of just saying goodbye, he literally leaves him in the desert. And what does he tell him? He tells him that if he can, save his breath, or, take it easy, that he can survive by, the 70 miles back to town.
Which Tuco actually is able to pull off. Man, I love that scene when he gets back and he just fucking is dunking himself in the trough.
He shows up in this little rinky town, and manages to make it through the desert. But it was kind of just cold blooded for Blondie just to leave him like that. They could have parted ways in a town. But that whole scene where he shows up in the town, dunks his head, and then he goes into, I don't know if it doesn't look like a general store. It looks like, I could be wrong, but it's definitely a gun store. And then there's the fantastic scene that I really love, where he kind of Frankensteins his own pistol.
Which I think I read that Leone just let him kind of do whatever he want. Like, they weren't trying to be authentic at that time. He was just like, no, just go for it, do whatever. Like, so him putting that together is all like him just kind of fucking around.
Yeah. Apparently Eli Wallach didn't know much about guns.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically just picking things up and checking things out for real. And Leone just kept the camera rolling. But it's funny seeing him take the gun and take it apart and then put, the cylinder from one gun, onto, I apologize. He takes the cylinder from one gun and puts it on the handle and then takes the barrel from another gun and attaches that. He spins the cylinder and he's listening to the click. There's, as we mentioned a while back on our year-end show, there's a good homage to that in John Wick Chapter 3, where as Keanu Reeves is trying to evade the hitman, he's in a gun store, and I think it's a museum.
Yes.
And he comes across the pistols, and he kind of Frankensteins his own pistol, and he spins the cylinder and listens to it. But he does that. He has the gun. The shop owner tells him he can try it out back, which he does. Kind of proves how deadly he is with the pistol by his target practice. And then the end of that scene is hilarious. That you and I both love, where he asks the shopkeeper how much, and the shopkeeper just tells him, $20. And he shakes his head and goes, and he just kind of sticks the pistol over his shoulder at him and says, how much? And the guy says, $50. And he just keeps threatening him. And then, the shopkeeper keeps telling him how much money he actually has in the register. And then what Tuco does is Tuco just robs him. It wasn't enough that, he manages to survive his ordeal in the desert and get a weapon so he can go after Blondie. He also robs the poor guy.
And to add insult to injury, he takes the we're closed or open sign and shoves it in his mouth.
But he does leave him the bottle of liquor. He was going to take the bottle with him, and then he realizes that he just robbed him and humiliated him. He'll leave the bottle with the shopkeeper.
After opening it and chugging some, he gives it back I'm not that fucked up.
He kind of picks it up and he goes to leave with it, and then he stops himself and realizes what he's doing and says, "Nah, you need it more than I do." So he just that's a hilarious scene that apparently Leone just thought, American Westerns are too polite. We're gonna have this guy steal, walk off with the pistol without paying for it, steal the guy's money, humiliate him on the way out the door. But he gets what he wants, and then he's after Blondie. He's after Blondie to repay him for leaving him for dead and double crossing him. And then he's great in the scene when he finally does catch up with them. He hooks up with these three other guys, these friends of his, to go after Blondie. And they finally track him down in a town, and there's a retreat by the Confederate Army, and they're marching through the town as these guys are, going up the stairs to try to surprise them. So they're going up the stairs, and their spurs are muffled by the marching. But when the marching stops, Blondie can hear the noise outside, and he's cleaning his pistol, so he's got to try to put it together really quick because he knows something's not right and probably suspects that he's about to be ambushed. What happens is the guys go to kick in the door, and Blondie fixes his pistol or gets it ready